Good morning. Thanks for staying with us. You're watching Daybreak, and this is our second segment of the show. Well, total, of course, different discussion. Altogether, 16 days of activism against gender-based violence, 25th November to 10th December. Today, the global movement calling for action to end violence against women and girls. With me in studio, Valentine Chepchumba is Accountability Officer at the Danish Refugee Council. Good morning, Valentine.
Good morning, viewers. Thanks for having me. Appreciated.
Many thanks. Stephen Omolo is Protection Officer at the Danish Refugee Council on my far right. Good morning, Steve.
Good morning.
Many thanks. And Michel Ayetsa is the Refugee Consortium of Kenya Field Coordinator and is based in Kakuma Refugee Camp. Many thanks for your time.
Good morning.
Appreciated. And given that you're also the first-hand persons regarding protection and, of course, such an important topic. For Valentine, first, to begin with you, this will culminate in an event that's themed around investing in to prevent violence against women and girls. Today is the final day. Tell us the importance and the relevance of today, 10th December.
Today is very important because, it marks the end of the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence, and it's a culmination of all the efforts by all the actors, the government, the humanitarian sectors, and all the actors doing their actions, whether in a big or small way, in order to eliminate all forms of violence against women and girls.
All right, and Steve, coming to you, before we get to the numbers, generally, if you are to give us a picture of the situation of the past 16 days, what then is your summary of the outlook?
My summary is, I believe, from when we started on 25th of November until today is the last day. It's a very beautiful look because I've seen so many actors coming out to talk about the 16 days of activism, whereby at least so many people are able to at least voice their concerns. Survivors have also shared what they are going through. So I believe it's a very, very good platform for at least to raise awareness regarding gender-based violence.
Yeah. And Ayetsa, generally then, seems it's a coordinated effort and many parties that are aboard this ship. How much has the awareness campaign able to achieve, given the messaging that you have choreographed in the past 16 days?
I would say that the partnership, especially with the stakeholders, because it's a clarion call for us to be able to ask the question on how can we address gender-based violence, and having all the partners here just come in, put in efforts. We have what we call the build-up activities, and the build-up activities more or less speak to what are the emerging issues. And this, of course, gives us an opportunity, even as organizations with like-minded ideas on how do we remove this scourge. Interestingly, of course, the last day of the 16 days of activism is also the International Human Rights Day. So it also leaves it with a high of how are we able to ensure that human rights also speak to aspects relating to gender-based violence.
And Valentine, throughout the period, the Danish Refugee Council, or the DRC, has partnered to undertake extensive advocacy. And it's one of the main key thematic areas looking at your running order. Give us how impactful this has been, if you are to talk about Dadaab refugee camp in Garissa, Kakuma in Turkana, Kallio Bay, and in Nairobi, which has a significant number of refugee population.
We at DRC, we've been actively involved in raising awareness against, elimination of violence against women and girls. And in our areas of operation, that is in Kakuma refugee camp, in Kallio Bay, in Dadaab, and also here in Nairobi, we've done robust and intense activities to raise awareness about this. And the outreach and the support has been amazing. Of course, in coordination with other actors, like-minded actors, we've done our best to amplify the need for all these forms of violence, even in alignment with this year's theme of, ending all forms of digital violence against women. All actors have come together to ensure that all this violence against women are eliminated.
Yeah. And Steve, the dialogues and the outreach programs, how much has this been, as an output, how much has it achieved? Is this community responding, given that you're also laying out your plans and also these awareness campaigns, but what's their response? And is the channel of communication symbiotic?
Yes, let me say yes. And wow, the response is very, very positive. I'll give an example. In Nairobi, there's a program that we implement as DRC called EMAP, that is Engaging Men Through Accountable Practices. This program focuses on the main goal is to create awareness, especially we are targeting the men, because research shows that a majority of the perpetrators are usually men. So this particular program will focus on, for the men at least, to try and change some of the gender norms, which sometimes the society and also the culture will inform. Like, for example, for you to be a real man, sometimes you have to hit your wife. Now, for this particular program, we take them through about 16-week sessions, whereby from the start session of understanding what is IMAP, all the way to at least the last session, whereby men become allies to women. So men are challenged to at least address some of these harmful traditional practices, harmful social norms, so that at least we become allies. And we've had positive impact in the community, because after the 16 days sessions, or the 16-week sessions, the men become champions in the community, whereby they'll be talking about gender-based violence and also ensuring that men become accountable in the community.
Yeah. And it means then, despite the response that we are not out of the woods yet, for example, 458 gender-based violence survivors were supported in Kakuma in 2024 alone. Despite the awareness campaigns and the response from the communities that you have reached out, have you also established the prompting factors of why then the numbers are high, or given the number of the GBV survivors that you have supported in 2024 alone?
Thank you for that, Ayub. You look at it, I'll put it in context where you look at, for instance, the refugee hosting areas like Kakuma Camp and Dadaab. There's quite a number of asylum seekers or refugees, and this stretches to over 20 nationalities. And if you look at from that backdrop, projection from the UNHCR indicator on some of the asylum seekers arriving in the country, you realize one key component, that over 20 nationalities have different cultures, different beliefs, and also practices. And of course, this in a way also disrupts the native social protection systems. So displacement in a way affects also what is happening in terms of how they handle this, the issues. Of course, it requires a lot of bridging the gap. From RCK, of course, we have been celebrating the 25 years of impact this year, looking at what can we be able to do more. And of course, being in the legal sector, we act as a bridge between the clients, that is the asylum seeker refugees, and also the other actors like judiciary. So that if you look at some of the initiatives also judiciary is coming up with, for instance, the sexual and gender-based strategy, that is a trauma response structures, it also helps provide some sort of safe haven, so that you're having cases where on the onset where we have partners like DRC doing the case management. Once the cases are getting to court, we are pushing to ensure there's active case management. But of course, not to say that we are not also realizing that there are new emerging trends. And looking at the refugee context, I usually say each day is always a new day, depending on it. But from where we sit as RCK, we usually say keep hope alive, because you never know what will come, but we work towards ensuring that it's a just and inclusive society. Yeah.
And Valentine, the number also, 337 survivors who have been accorded psychosocial support and case management services in Dadaab alone. This is minus Kakuma.
Yes.
So in as much as you are amplifying the campaign, echoing the messaging, reaching out to the communities, you also need to match up the numbers, is it, given the trends that Ayetz has talked about?
Oh, yes. At DRC, one of our core sectors is providing protection. And yes, the numbers are glaring. But again, it boils down to the need for accountability, especially from the community, because we might hold this conversation even at the national level, but the real change begins in our homes, in our places of work, you know, in the places we interact a lot, in our places of worship. So again, at DRC, we are trying to bring this, cascade this information to the communities on the need to eliminate all forms of violence, so that hopefully the numbers will just go down.
Yeah.
Yes.
And how has the cosmopolitan nature and the mosaic of the refugee camp, for example, let's take Kakuma, the mix of nationalities,
yes.
South Sudanese, Burundians, Congolese, Somalis, Ugandans, is that proving to be a challenge given your outreach programs, and do you need also an extra help in terms of the coding of the message because of the differences in languages?
Yes, Ayub, of course that is a huge factor, and also the different cultures, of course, create a huge dynamic in terms of what each nationality believes, just as Ayetz has said. But then we sit down as humanitarian actors and agree on the best way forward, especially in sharing information. For example, at DRC, we translate our information and our messaging into the languages understood by all these nationalities, so that then the message gets home. You know, the message about reducing all forms of violence gets home. So it is very important for us to contextualize our working and our messaging to the needs of all these nationalities at the camps.
Yeah. And Steve, how much of this then goes to family union and reunification, given the dynamic of the setups that we are talking about?
Like what Valentine has shared, we as DRC, we really try to at least ensure there is the contextualization, a bit of it, and also we use translators and interpreters, at least to ensure that the message is home. Now, in regards to family, you mentioned family, and I've remembered, also, there's a rise of IPV amongst IPV's intimate partner violence, which this is something which is also now shooting high. Most of the cases that we've seen or we've handled or given psychosocial support, we support the family, and we find that there's this notion, which I believe it's very important also for our viewers to maybe to get. When somebody gets married, and probably they've paid a dowry to the wife. Now they tend to believe that you're now my property, I can do anything with you. So you find this increases the cases of intimate partner violence. So most of our programmings, we as DRC, we try to ensure and also pass the message across. Violence is not answer to everything. As families, we need to sit down. We need to discuss what are some of the issues which are affecting you. And there are ways we can at least sit and discuss some of these issues and deal with them. Now, your question, the family reunification. Yes, we've had several sessions with the family members, and we try as much as possible to mediate or have like family sessions or family dialogues to resolve some of the issues which are affecting them. And it's a plus, especially in the urban setup, whereby we've had several family sessions with our beneficiaries. And also when you go back to Kakuma and also Dadaab, it's also a plus, and we find some of the community members are appreciating the services that we are offering, especially now the family psychosocial support, which eventually you find the relationship, the communications with the family members improve.
Yeah. Yes, you wanted to add on that? Yes, please. So also 16,000 plus individuals were reached through the prevention campaigns. And here, should the number be upscaled? From your analysis, what does this point to the 16,000? Is it below the target or average, or this need for upscaling?
Well, if you ask me, I think the numbers should be upscaled, because as Steve mentioned, that we're coming from a point of majority of this gender-based violence is emanating from the communities. Yeah. And we also need to have the community buying, so that if you're talking about developing common messaging, it is not only the humanitarian partners, it's not the government taking lead. But of course, listening to some of the key government initiatives like the Kenya National Commission of Human Rights, when we talk about human rights is everyone's business, it requires us to be able to spread the message as far as wide. If you look at our constitution, it's very progressive on access to information. How do we ensure that this information is getting to the lowest level? Because even in terms of some of the interventions that we do at the camp level, you realize the underlying issue sometimes is just lack of or limited information. So that even for the child maybe from this nationality who presumes that maybe being married off at an early age is a sort of inclusion to the community. But then how about if we're able to enlighten them? What does the Constitution of Kenya provide in terms of age of maturity? How do we safeguard their access to education to ensure that every child has the basic minimum education so that they're not getting into child marriages or maybe even teenage pregnancies as we see within the camp. So to answer your question, I think we need to upscale.
Yeah. To add on to it, I also tend to believe we need to upscale it because when you look at this year theme, you find there's a lot of digital grooming whereby majority of the adolescent girls are being lured into the social media. Now the likes of TikTok, the WhatsApp and also Facebook, you find people are luring the adolescent girls or the young girls so that they're able to share some of the photos or the private photos. And sometimes there's a case that somebody said that just send me your view once photo. And you know, when somebody does not have the digital literacy, they'll just share their photos. Now, once your photo has been shared, you find this person will be exploiting you, probably sometimes even threatening you that if you don't send me money or if you don't send other photos, I am going to expose some of these photos that you had sent earlier. So I believe, yes, we need to upscale so that at least we reach so many other people.
And Valentine, two components that I want you to speak to. The involvement of the youth and the messaging itself that can be to counter that narrative, leveraging on social media. And second, in terms of involving very key stakeholders, the leaders of the church and the mosques, because of the constant, the chances of this messaging spreading beyond your community centers. So how are you involving these two components in your campaign?
So across all our areas of operations, we are robustly engaging the youth, especially in terms of digital literacy, because again, we live in a digital world. So yes, the digital space really matters a lot. So the engagement of youth, therefore, is very pivotal because then it will ensure that the youth have the right messaging to ensure that we are also, counteracting the harmful norms that probably has been normalized over the years, and also countering the developing or the current trends, the contemporary trends, such as the use of TikTok and even the use of other digital platforms, whereby young people are lured, and unfortunately sometimes it ends up being fatal and all that, or in other forms of violence. So one, we are leveraging on the use of digital platforms and the media to reach out to many young people across all our areas of operations in the camps. And then secondly, you've talked about the involvement of the community. Now, we operate in a space whereby we are in the community, you and I are the community, Ayub. So at the end of the day, even when we go back home, when we go back to our places of worship, our places of work, we need to hold these conversations candidly and actually just take the bulls by the horns. The grim statistics in terms of the violence against women and girls, especially this year or the past few years, is actually a wake-up call that we actually need a serious conversation about this in our community, so that then we avoid normalizing all these trends that has now been the trend, and try to embrace practices and do away with harmful behaviors that tend to perpetuate the violence against women and girls.
Yeah. I'm talking about women and girls because that is why we are having these 16 days. In terms of feedback and complaint mechanism, is there an avenue where they can confidentially report this? Fundamentally so, because the trend has been in event where Valentine, who has been, a GBV survivor, fears blowback from the offenders who are largely on social media and also within the community. So what is the confidentiality in terms of that line of reporting?
Yes, so at DRC, we have a functional community feedback mechanism, which is mainly accessible safe and confidential. Now, in regards to supporting survivors of gender-based violence, it's very, very important that our channels are safe and confidential, whereby our survivors will be able, or we have the trust to actually use our channels, report the concerns, and also be assured that they are going to receive the support they need. Now, our channels are diversified in terms of, let's say, like our toll-free, even we have community workers, we have our own DRC staff, we have our protection staff in all our areas of operation, who ensure that they are always on call and on standby to support survivors of gender-based violence. Now, we also have our own internal safeguards, whereby we protect the information of the GBV survivors. For example, we don't use personal identifiable information, or what we call the PIIs. We ensure that they are coded and they receive the relevant supports. And in a case whereby DRC is not able to offer the support, for example, we offer psychosocial support, and probably our survivors need access to medical or to the legal support, then we refer appropriately. And this has been done through service mapping of all the actors within our space. Yeah. For example, RCK provides the legal support. Yeah. Okay. We have actors providing medical support. We have those providing shelter and all that. So it is a whole coordinated approach whereby we ensure that the interests of the survivors are at the center of operations. Yeah.
And Steve, then earlier on, you also made your submission regarding the community feedback. How has it enhanced your then laying out of programs to reach out to more people and in this case, support survivors of GBV, given the numbers that should be lessened, according to you?
Just like what Valentin has shared, our feedback mechanisms are usually very, very confidential. And once we receive the feedback or some of the information that we get from the community, we have professionals on the ground, that is the community engagement facilitator, and also the protection staff to follow up some of these cases. For instance, if we get a case whereby somebody has been violated and probably they require like a safe house, through the coordination or with other agencies and also the security team, we usually ensure that at least the survivor is put in a safe house to ensure that they are not probably followed up with the perpetrators, as they also get the psychosocial support and the medical support. And also the feedback also inform our activities, because what we receive from the community is going to inform on the activities that we are supposed to at least carry out, and also the information that we'll carry out in the community. Yeah. Yeah.
And does that allow you integration of the feedback?
Yes. Yes. Aggregate. Yes. It allows, because we as DRC appreciate feedback, because it helps us to see where the gaps are, and also how to at least integrate the host community and also the refugees, so that at least we are able to address this, let me call it, this pandemic of the gender-based violence.
Ayub, allow me to add on the integration of feedback. So at DRC, we also have an information management system, which is safe and integrates all the feedback we receive from our areas of operations. Now, when we integrate this feedback, we are able to analyze and be able to offer assistance or support accordingly. For example, if our feedback integration shows that probably in Kakuma or in Dadaab, the cases are rising, then it also enables us to adapt, in terms of our programming and in terms of delivering interventions that seek to prevent and even to respond to issues of gender-based violence.
Yeah. Maybe if I can just mention something, because picking to the conversation, from RCK we looked at it also, how do we ensure so there's two-way communication? And we were able to do a self-index survey this year, and we looked at it from different angles: physical safety, emotional safety, financial safety. You realize also the feedback we're getting from the community. Some of them are not comfortable enough maybe to maybe go seek some of these services, maybe at the police station, should there be maybe an atrocity that is happening. So we use that in terms of our programming, so that even within our programming, we're able to now ask the key different actors, if it's engaging maybe the National Police Service, to maybe provide child-friendly spaces so that they can be able also to provide while. If it's judiciary, then we are looking at how do we work with the court users committee to ensure that even safeguarding some of these survivors, to ensure that the information that they're giving maybe at the court process is not distorted in any way.
Yeah, and Valentine, in terms of then you undertaking trainings and stakeholder engagements, how has this more or less devolved your responsibilities in tasking others to be also your campaigners and to be the spreaders of the information?
Yeah, so at DRC, we are very keen on matters localization. And localization simply means we are cascading the power to our local actors, to the local communities. Reason being, they are the first, they are the people on the ground, and they are always the first responders of all this, even before we as actors get there. Okay. So then the need to actually involve all our local actors, for instance, the county government, we involve the refugee-led organizations, we involve the community-based organizations, so that then they also have the capacity to actually respond and to also create awareness around elimination of gender-based violence. So the involvement of local actors cannot be overlooked. It is very important, and engaging them even in the long-term goal in terms of sustainability ensures that once we have done all these interventions, then the communities can carry on with all these good things we are doing, and doesn't have to end when probably our projects end.
Yeah. And Steve, then we talked about how important this, the community leadership, the youth, and the leadership of or the religious leaders are key. But how does DRC also collaborate with, for instance, UN agencies, the police, RCK here, NRG, and community structures generally, because government is a key partner in all this move?
We as DRC, we usually deploy the multi-layered approach, whereby we believe working in silos will not help us deal with the gender-based violence. So we work very closely with our partner, that is the RCK, as the legal representative, whereby sometimes we make referrals to them if probably there is matters of litigation, so that they're able to address it. We work very closely with the Department for Refugee Services in case management and also referral systems together with the UNHCR. We usually have case conferences for some of the cases which we believe might require like a multi-layered or task team, so that we're able to address some of the issues which are being raised. So yes, we believe we need to work together so that at least we are able to address some of the issues, because us alone, we are not able to deal with these issues. And other agencies have specialized in different activities and also in different help that might be needed. So very closely with RCK, UNHCR, and Department for Refugee Services, plus other agencies.
Thank you. Yes, yet a final comment. I begin with you first. Yes, please.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. Again, as I mentioned, from RCK, we say keep hope alive. Yeah. In the words of Winston Churchill, history will be kind to me because I intend to write it. So I urge upon all partners, all stakeholders, to be able to push the conversation forward on how to be able to protect the victims or survivors of gender-based violence as we forge forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Valentine.
Thanks, Ayub. Just two things. One, the conversation at the community needs to take place. We need to be very honest and candid and have actually intentions to eliminate all forms of violence against women and girls. Things can no longer go on as it is right now. For example, the unfortunate death of the young 12-year-old from Embakasi, you know, it paints a grim picture of actually all this, that despite all these efforts we are making, then there is a huge gap that actually the community can come together and actually address it. Secondly, of course, at DRC, to appreciate all the efforts of our program and our protection staff being at the forefront with all the actors, you know, the humanitarian and the government agencies, in ensuring that we are providing the much needed support to all the survivors of gender-based violence.
Yes, Steve.
For everyone, and also the men in particular, to be accountable. And we also need to at least challenge our thinking, challenge the harmful norms, the social norms that are usually shared amongst the community members, and also where we stay. And the 16 days of activism comes to an end today. It does not mean that we stop as from today. We need to continue to champion, we need to continue to create awareness, and we need to at least shout out louder so that at least we are able to deal with the gender-based violence. So it is our responsibility, my responsibility, your responsibility, for at least to ensure that at least the society is safe, and we as men, we become allies to women and girls in the community.
Thank you, Steve. Thanks, Valentine. Thanks, Ayetza. Much appreciated for your time on this very important topic.
Thank you.
And thanks to you, too. I'll see you on the other side of the break. Ahead of the Digital Media Awards, we'll be talking more about tomorrow's event here in Nairobi. So stay tuned. I'll be back after this short commercial break.